Is smoking marijuana using a page torn from a Bible as a rolling material as opposed to regular cigarette paper any kind of a statement? Well, the only statement that I got out of the video, that this video that I'm doing is a response to, from FactVsReligion, came from one of the people in the video who wasn't the actual main subject, herself. He said, I hope that this annoys Christians because they've done enough to annoy me. So it's simply an act of calculated offense. Now, if you don't believe in Christianity, and for the record, neither do I, it's meaningless to me, it doesn't automatically follow that you have to be deliberately offensive about it to the point of burning a book. It should be enough, in my opinion, that someone else reveres this book for you to, out of a sense of common decency and a love of civilized conduct, or at least a respect for the civilized norms of society, not to do this. Least of all, not to put it all over the internet, put it on YouTube. You don't have to actually believe that book to respect it. There's any number of books that I would not do that to. And there's any number of books that I would show proper reverence to that have nothing to do with religion or nothing to do with anything that I believe. I wouldn't approach a family photo album with photographs of weddings and baptisms or children in their first grade or this sort of thing. I wouldn't treat that with any less respect than I would someone else's Bible, someone else's holy book, or a coffee table book that someone has that is a first edition signed by that person's favorite author, or one of these books that people now put together about their family tree. Again, they keep books like that usually on the coffee table or somewhere where everyone can see, because it's an important thing, it's an important element of their family. There's a reverence to that book in and of itself. Even though I might not even know these people, if I ever came into contact with such a book, I would not show it any less respect, because I understand that this is an important book to someone else. Every book I can imagine fits into that category, ultimately. Further, I don't know if what your reaction to this comparison, it's perhaps an odious comparison, but I think that I'm not the only one to have made this comparison. Using marijuana rolled up in a page of the Bible is another form of book burning. And I don't mean simply because of the fire that is applied to the pages. I mean the calculated public destruction of a book that this involves. If you did this and didn't put it on YouTube and no one was the wiser, I don't think civilization would care one way or another what you did. But the fact that you've opted to put it on YouTube makes one assume that it is a deliberate statement. Well, deliberately showing disrespect in that manner is the same thing as the delightful people at the Dove World Outreach Center in Gainesville, Florida, plan to do on September the 11th of this year, when they plan to host their infamous Burn a Quran Day. I presume we're going to see a big pile of Qur'ans with the flames, if this thing comes off, with the flames going and people may be tossing more on, and the imagery will be absolutely unmistakable, and that's the only reason why I can think that they would be doing it. An act of calculated offense against someone else's holy book, someone else's values. Again, that's no different from showing disrespect to a revered non-religious book. It's the same thing. The only purpose to do this is to give offense. I understand deliberately challenging religious intolerance, deliberately challenging the near superstition, that often goes along with the reverence of holy books, holy relics, statues, whatever. And I understand that sometimes people will do this simply as a statement. While at the end of the day I don't agree with what they're doing, I can sometimes, in at least a historical sense, understand why they were doing it. The most famous example that I can think of is the photograph that's familiar to any student of the Spanish Civil War or of Spanish anarchism. I'll put that in the link bar. Where you see a bunch of Spanish anarchists forming a firing squad where they execute a large statue of Jesus Christ. Now that was something that at the end of the day I think hurt the anarchist cause in Spain more than it helped it. But at least they were making a point. The Spanish Catholic Church traditionally ruled the people's minds with fear of hellfire, superstitious reverence for relics, clots of blood, all kinds of amulets, trinkets, just the stereotypically pharisaical and corrupt Catholic hierarchy of European literature, the European tradition literature, the corrupt church, the corrupt clergy. That was the Spanish Catholic Church, and they were part and parcel of a social system that severely repressed the poor. So when the revolution in Spain finally took place, certain people thought it was necessary to make a point of saying, see, all this superstition is junk. These statues are nothing more than pieces of rock. These vials containing holy blood or holy water or these bones of saints or whatever are nothing more than what they are. It's human blood, it's human bone, it's just rock, it's nothing. There's no fire from heaven going to strike us down for doing this like the priests have been telling us for so long. I can see why they did that, while at the end of the day I still disagree with it because of the damage that it did to an otherwise decent cause, but at least there was a method to it. When I see what you're doing in your video, Fact versus Religion, I'm reminded of the sort of famous line from one of my favorite movies, Apocalypse Now, where Walter Kurtz, played by the late Marlon Brando, asks Captain Kilgore, played by Martin Sheen, "So, you disapprove of my methods?" And Martin Sheen's character, Kilgore, says, "I don't see any method at all." And that is one of the most kind conclusions that I can draw towards the video that you made of smoking pot using the page torn from the Bible. No method, no point, no nothing. A less charitable conclusion, I would say, is that it's simple destruction, it's book burning, it's calculated offense, and yes, it is a form of religious extremism. Must sound strange to be thought of, or to know that someone thinks that you're a religious extremist. But I think that it's entirely possible based on my seeing this video that you are. But again, I don't know you, and it's just an opinion. Thank you.